Today, I'm sharing another full lesson directly from our Art of Flow program. Now, if you've already unlocked the overhand sneak and you're ready to kick things up a notch, you're in the right place. This anchored version can feel a little tricky at first, but we're going to crack the code together. All right, Flow Meets, today we're going to have some fun. We're going to elevate our sneak game, right? So you realize by now, I'm sure, that sneaks are kind of a foundational, or I should say ubiquitous part of the rope flow journey for most of us, especially for myself anyway. And so we've got all kinds of different variations of sneaks, right? We've got our overhand, our underhand, our 2-point, our 3-point, our alternating sneaks. You can get into sneak switches. There's all kinds of ways, all kinds of different flavors of sneaks. And today we're going to start out with our anchored sneaks, right? We're going to begin with the overhand anchored sneak, and that's because everyone has different preferences, and some people find perhaps the underhand version to be even the easier place to start. But I know for myself especially, I taught myself the anchored overhand sneaks first, and then I got ready to go and teach myself the underhand version because I thought that, that would be cool. And I literally thought, after trying it at first, that the underhand version was not something that was possible to do. I wound up seeing someone else doing it on social media a month or so later. I was like, oh, you can do that. So then I went back and taught myself how to do the underhand version. So we're going to start with overhand because that's where I started. Hopefully, if you find that it's really challenging, you might want to skip down to the underhand version of the anchored sneak tutorial and see if that one is easier for you. But once we get into talking about sneaks, it's important to first look at what we already know. And this is a definite prerequisite. You're not going to be wanting to learn your anchored overhand sneaks if you don't already have the ability to do a standard, standard sneak, especially a 2-point standard sneak, okay? So there's a 2-point sneak looks like this. A 3-point sneak like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is not as important. It's not as relevant. The 2-point sneak is what's really relevant here. So once you've got the 2-point sneak and you should have the understanding of how these hands sort of come together on this side and together on that side. They go back and forth, alternating from being on one side and on the other side of you, right? Now I wanted to just show you from the side how it looks with this overhand anchored sneak, and you'll see maybe perhaps it's maybe harder to see the rotation I'm doing with my hips and shoulders there. But another thing that is common with sneaks and all these different movements is that you're really trying to keep that rope as vertical as possible when it passes your side body and maintain tension on it. That's just a standard thing. So once you've got the timing down, and you might be using that high controlling hand and slowing it down, trying to keep the tension on the rope, that's when you can start working on keeping that vertical rope. You also find, especially in the beginning, that you're going to want to, as the hand comes down to the opposite side where this anchored hand normally would be, you really are going to find that you might need to turn and twist that torso a bit more. Get your weight shift over to the lead hand foot side a bit more as you go there. You might want to exaggerate that, right? So it's like the boom. See how I twist my shoulder? And not just my shoulder, but my hip as well. And that's sort of a key because when you have that hip twist, notice how my hand here becomes a bit more prevalent, a bit more available for that rope to pass my side body. So that is really, those two things are really the key elements to get started. A bit more animation because that lead hand has to do much more of the control and driving of the rope and giving the rope its energy relative to the backhand when the backhand is anchoring. Another thing you can consider is, especially when you're starting out, notice that the backhand here, if you can see, is kind of going from, it's going from here to here as I lead in the front, but it doesn't really get as involved with controlling the rope as much as it does when you're doing your regular sneak. And I find that when I'm doing my regular sneak, I'm giving this backhand a bit more rope here and a bit more control on this side, and then I come back out. It's really just about getting the timing. If you've already got the sneak, right, the 1, 2, 1, 2, you should have the understanding of that rotation of your body, of your torso, right? Rotation, come back. Rotation, come back. And now when you go to the anchored version, that rotation is actually a little different, right? You're still rotating to this side like you were in the beginning with the rotation this way, but you have to give that extra rotation when you come back. And so that gives my torso a lot more. If you notice my torso, I'm really kind of
shifting my weight and turning my torso with each revolution of the rope. So those are the real key elements of the anchored sneak. And it might feel, it's going to feel kind of funny at first. There's no real footwork difference other than the more aggressive weight shifting, but you can also consider, like I like to do, just the way it feels, this notion of this kind of bending a knee, right, and letting your heel come off the ground as you go around with this movement. It's a good way to do it. Before we close this tutorial, the next thing, of course, is that you got to make sure, you know that our mantra is if you can't do it on both sides, you can't do it. So you want to take everything I just mentioned and put it on the other side, right? So now this is going to be more challenging when you're doing it with your non-dominant hand. And so you might need to get that kind of control, just control, ouch, that was not pleasant, but just control the rope as best you can to get it over your head. Just remember that twist is the same thing. It's just a matter of controlling that rope with that lead hand. If you got to go high at first. Just get the timing down. And once you've got the timing down, you can start working on just actually relaxing the hand as it goes around. Remember, it's a more pronounced figure of eight, especially in the beginning. Now, sometimes I do it these days and I'm used to it, so my figure of eight is not particularly, for example, if you look at my front hand, that's my front hand figure of eight for my regular sneaks, and then my anchored sneaks is not particularly different, but that's because I've been doing it for a while. But when you start out, it's most often going to be much more pronounced, and it helps probably to slow it down a bit, just to get that timing and that rhythm of that. It's like basically a double rotation that's going on, right? So when you do your regular sneak, it's kind of just a rotate this way, come back, rotate this way, come back. And the anchor sneak is rotate this way and rotate the other way too. So it's kind of this alternating rotation. So you gotta keep that in mind. The hip and shoulders need to give sort of room for that rope. So hopefully that will be useful for you. And you'll have the overhand anchor sneaks down in no time flat.